was the summer before I started school. I had just turned 7. That age when you're still a child, but you can already sense that something big is about to begin. Back then, I had no idea that one evening an object would enter our home, not just a piece of furniture, but a sign that would stay with me for the rest of my life. My father came home later than usual. He brought back a disassembled writing desk. He had picked it up and loaded it into his car near the post office, where old furniture was being thrown out. Light brown, probably from the 1910s, he said. It's a shame to throw something like this away. The desk was worn, with cracked varnish, an uneven wooden surface, and a small but solid key sticking out of a door. But there was something noble about it, as if it carried memories of another era. The next day, my father brought home self-adhesive film, dark chocolate color, with a wood grain pattern, and together we gave the old desk a new life. I remember that moment, the two of us leaning over the old wood, carefully smoothing out the bubbles in the film. A few days later, my father added another touch, a heavy, transparent glass top, precisely cut to fit the desk. But the most important thing happened next. My father opened an issue of Around the World magazine and gently tore out the center spread, a glossy, deep-toned photograph against a dark blue background. On it was the golden mask of a pharaoh. Who is that? I asked, unable to take my eyes off it. That's Tutankhamun, my father replied, an Egyptian pharaoh, a king. In our terms, he placed the image under the glass, and from that moment on, it became a part of my world. Every day I sat at the desk, gazing at the mask, feeling as though it lived a life of its own beneath the smooth surface. Its face calm, yet full of mystery, looked up at me. It was my window into ancient Egypt. Day after day, I did my homework, drew, sculpted, and she was always there. The years passed, and I saw her image in textbooks, magazines, and films. I learned about the short life of the young king, his mysterious death, and his untouched tomb. But one question kept haunting me. What does the back of the mask look like? No photo, no book ever showed its reverse side. And strangely enough, that question stayed with me for many years. At the age of 19, I moved to another city to study. I was accepted into the Faculty of History and Law, and at 26, I moved to Cyprus. There, I began working as a history teacher at a Russian school. Life went on as usual, but Egypt still lived inside me, like an old dream I longed to return to. And then one day it happened. We went on a school trip, teachers and students, to Egypt. A cruise ship took us to port, set overnight. Due to some error, my cabin had already been taken, and instead they gave me not just another room, but a luxurious suite with a balcony, a living room, and a private bedroom. It felt incredible, as if fate itself had decided to give me a gift. I was overjoyed. It was my first time on a cruise ship, and in such luxury. We traveled to Giza, the pyramids, the Sphinx, the sheer enormity, impossible to express in words. The Pyramid of Khufu could be seen from miles away, like a mountain made not by men, but by gods. But the most important part lay ahead. The Cairo Museum. We moved with a stream of tourists, examining sarcophagi, papyri, ancient tools, jewelry, statues, until I noticed an open door leading into a hall where no one else was present. I walked in. In the center of the hall, inside a glass cube, on a pedestal, stood her, the mask, that very one. The sun was already setting, and its golden rays poured through the tall windows, gliding over her surface. She shone softly, not brightly, but majestically. I stood there, transfixed, feeling the grandeur and mystery of the object. Snapping out of my trance, I quickly approached the mask and carefully walked around it. And there, from the back, I saw what I had wondered about as a child, how the headdress flowed smoothly into a long braid, wrapped with a golden band. My childhood question was finally answered. 20 years after I first saw that image under glass. It was so simple, and yet so important. A moment that gathered all those years into a single point. A minute later, tourists entered the hall. A noisy crowd quickly scattered around, talking loudly, taking photos. The sense of awe had subsided, and silence settled inside. I left the hall quietly, but the feeling of having touched a mystery stayed with me forever. Adult life is simply a continuation of the fairy tale that began in childhood. Childhood images, like that Tutankhamun mask behind glass, become lighthouse. They guide us through choices, countries, careers, coincidences, not because we remember them, but because they've become part of us. It's as if we return to ourselves, to the child who first felt something and began their journey. Cherish those images. Pay Pay close attention to what resonated with you in childhood, what amazed you, what you dreamed about, what you asked questions about. There lies the true compass of your destiny. And if you ever lose your way, look back to your childhood. Perhaps there you will find the real beginning of your path.